Civil society organizations who monitored last Saturday's governorship election in Edo State criticized the process, alleging results were altered at collation centers and declaring the election lacked credibility. While observers from the Situation Room and Yaga Africa reported widespread irregularities and urged INEC to review results based on the IRF portal. The People's Democratic Party announced plans to challenge the results in court, claiming their candidate Aswe Ighodalo was the true winner and labeling the election as rigged. Candidates from the Labour Party and Accord Party also discredited the election, citing INEC's compromise, while the governor-elect Monday Okpebolo of the All Progressives Congress celebrated his victory. While Dr. Blessing Agbomhere is APC's South-South Organising Secretary, he now joins us from our Abuja studios to discuss the outcome of the Edo State governorship election and the factors that swung the victory in favor of the APC's Monday Okpebolo. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday. Dr. Blessing Agbomhere, I don't know if you can hear me, but if you can hear me, I'd like your reaction to reports from civil society organizations that the results of the Edo State election were altered and that it lacks legitimacy.
Thank you very much, Awa. Like you know, I was an active participator in that election. And I can tell you that I have a dossier of everything that happened during that election. And again, Yaga Africa is run by Todo. And most of other organizations who have come out to speak against the elections are the ones that are being talked about by this television. Those who are talking in favor of the APC in that election, I'm surprised are not giving the wide publicity that are being given to those who are discrediting the election. The election that was held in the last Saturday, I must confess, was a free and fair election. Because we, the APC, went into that election with so much trepidation and fear because of the manner with which INEC organized the elections. So we were also scared, but what gave us confidence was the resolve that we have seen, the agitation, the commitment of Edo people to change their government, to change bad governance. And what we saw in that election was amazing to evil us because, like in Africa, elections are usually manipulated by those who are in power. And when you want to talk about Ikubensi, it is Godwin Obaseki and Aswe Ighodalo that are the institution of the party in Edo State. So if you want to talk about election manipulation, election rigging, it was actually the PDP in Edo State who did everything to manipulate the election. They did everything to compromise the army. They did everything to compromise INEC. They did everything to compromise the police. But you see, they started crying when the police, the army, and the INEC refused to take bribe from them. And if you remember, the woman, one of the commissioners who came to Edo, before she came to Edo, she warned that she will not receive bribe from anybody. So the election of Saturday, what we saw in that election was the resolve of Edo people. It is fortunate that APC is a beneficiary of the collective resolve of Edo people to change bad governance. And the luck we had as a party was that we fielded one of our best candidates, a candidate who is reticent, a candidate who believes in the rule of Cesar Loquito. The fact speaks for itself. And a man who wouldn't want to talk until it is very, very necessary to talk. So what you saw on that day was nothing like ringing. Most of these organizations that are talking, I'm surprised where they even have money to pay for advert. And where they will get money to publicize their concocted and polluted and adulterated reports. So you can believe me, I'm putting this to you. Before I came into politics, I've been a civil society person. And I can tell you that most of these reports are tailored to suit the current administration, who is crying because they did not succeed in perpetuating themselves in office. Right. So ignore all these negative reports, and I want to also beg you to give room for those who have reports, the true reports of this election, to also be able to come forward to publicize their report using your platform.
Well, the platform is open to all. I'm sure that we don't turn anyone back for bringing information that is pertinent. But what exactly were the factors that swung these Edo State elections in favor of the APC candidate? What were some of the methods that were employed that you think were the reasons that the election was successful?
You see, the truth of the matter is that before I continue, I want to also admonish Arise TV.
Well,
I think my candidate, who is now the governor, let me go straight. Let me answer you. Don't dictate to me what to tell you. You have asked me a question. Let me respond to you.
Yes, please
What I'm saying is that Arise TV as a television has been used as a platform to demarket our candidate. And I can also tell you that maybe you are shocked that the candidate won because Edo people voted for him, knowing very well what your platform was used to do to our candidates. And I think that Arise TV owes an apology to Senator Monday Ukpewolo for allowing itself to be used as a platform to demarket him. But despite the demarketing, we won the elections. And I must tell you that, anytime I say that Senator Monday is a silent achiever, people argue with me. Do you know that Senator Monday Ukpewolo was one of the persons who nurtured this TV today that many of us are working and watching? When Arise TV was being formed, Senator Monday Ukpewolo was the person who provided IT for the transmission of your program on internet television. Find out from the owners of this station. So one thing to make you understand is that Senator Monday Ukpewolo has a hand in every successful organization and business venture in Nigeria. And Senator Monday has contributed immensely to the betterment of Edo people. So what you saw Saturday was Edo people coming to appreciate a man that has impacted the lives of Edo people, coming to appreciate and vote for a man who has used his personal resources to develop the people, coming out to vote a man whom they trust, knowing very well that this current government of Godwin Obaseki and Asue Godalo has disappointed Edo people, has failed Edo people, and has come with a lot of MOUs that to date are not concluded. Now, let me give you by senatorial districts. The reason why they do not will vote against Obaseki is because, one, he promised them an airport. Today, they have not seen an airport. Now, the only person they have in the government, which is Comrade Philip Shaibu, he removed Philip Shaibu from government without following the due process of law. So that is enough for Edo people to stand to say, this government has failed and we don't want this government. Secondly, don't also forget that Obaseki refused to inaugurate the House of Assembly for a period of 4 years. Now, these constituencies who voted for these persons went through this period without representation in the House of Assembly. That is also a factor that contributed to the reason why the PDP and Asue Godalo and the Obaseki lost in Edo North. Now go to Esan. In Esan, you can see the dilapidated roads in Esan districts. He refused to fix those roads. And that is the reason why the Esan people refused to vote for Godwin Obaseki. Now come to Benin. In Benin, Godwin Obaseki promised to deliver a new seaport called Gelegele Seaport to the people. He failed that. And don't also forget, Godwin Obaseki has demolished more than 7,000 houses in Edo State, in Benin. Don't also forget, Godwin Obaseki has illegally acquired properties, landed properties, belonging to patriotic Edo citizens, home and abroad. So all of these factors culminated into is resolved by Edo people to say this government has to go. And voting for Asue Godalo is a continuity of Obaseki's government. They don't want to see Obaseki's face. They don't want to see Obaseki's godson. They have to come to a man who they know won our primaries without a godfather, a man who is as humble as a sheep, a man who has the heart of gold. And they all know him. And that is the reason why Edo people collectively voted for him. You see, they are crying today, and they are sponsoring people to come on TV because they know that they have failed. And they are not crying because they love Edo people. Asue Godalo is not crying, or Obaseki crying because they love Edo people. Their wives are not crying because they love Edo people. They are only crying because they are broken. They are crying because their transition program has failed. They have run the government aground. They have a lot of corruption to cover up. So they wanted to hand over the government to another crony who will continue from where this current government will stop. And Edo people who never wanted a continuation of that voted for a man who they believe will bring godly leadership to Edo State. And that is what made my candidate win the election. And by the grace of God, as we speak, Senator Monday Okpewolo, the governor-elect of Edo State, is busy. He's not distracted by all of these protests and all of these issues. He's already busy on how to unite Edo, how to bring Edo people together, because Edo has never been this divided before. As we speak today, as at yesterday and today, my candidate, who is the governor-elect and the governor-elect of Edo State, has been visiting leaders of our state, both in the PDP, both in Labour, both in APC, and both in the technocrats, those who are technocrats and those who are in civil society, talking to them on how we can unite all interests in the state to form a common cause, because development cannot come in an environment that is strife with rift. And my candidate, as I speak, is already working, drawing map, setting up committees, putting different teams together on how to better the state. Because where Obaseki left our state, we have to do a lot to move forward. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that detailed explanation. And I hope you are happy that you also have a platform to actually market, the governor-elect now. Since you say we've been demarketing him, now you've done your own marketing. Now, the PDP has said that it will legally challenge the results, but it is quite worrisome, isn't it, that ultimately it's always the courts, that decide the winner of an election in Nigeria. What does this say about our democracy?
The truth of the matter is that I will beg the PDP not to bother themselves going to court, because in law, though they have a right, to approach the court, but you see, it's not every issue that you bring to court, especially this election that just happened. Because this election was free and fair, but if they want to go to court to go and waste the resources they have saved, they can go to court. But the truth of the matter is that there's even no need to go to court for them, because they have failed, and it is good. What is happening today in Nigeria is that if you have a son who has gone to school, who reads and writes exam, if he fails, he will not say, I failed. He will say, the school failed me. The teacher failed me. That has been a common phenomenon in Nigeria. But as I am talking to you, I don't think there's any need for Aswe Godalo, because Senator Monday Okpewolo is his brother, and Obaseki too, whether he likes it or not, is going to be the predecessor of Senator Monday Okpewolo. And they have a reason to work together, because he needs to tell the incoming governor what he has done and who is owing the state and who the state is owing. So he needs to properly hand over to the governor, the incoming governor. So for me, everything has happened. We are no longer doing election now. We are no longer campaigning for election. Elections are over. We have to hit the ground running. And Senator Monday is ready to hit the ground running, because he's already running. Because before he came into government, before he contested for governorship, he knew what he wants to achieve in Edo. That is why in his manifesto, he stated that he has 5-point agenda, which he has declared as emergency areas in administration of Edo State. And as I speak with you, he's already meeting with different interests, trying to put a strong team together that will deliver. He has made a promise that within 100 days in his office, he knows what he wants to do. He's a leader who does not give to too much talks. He's a leader who cannot be distracted. He's a leader who is cool, calm, and collected. And a leader who is focused and who knows what Edo needs and is ready to ensure that within 100 days in office, he delivers dividends of democracy to Edo people that will cancel any government that has happened before in Edo State. He is a patriot, and he's a man who loves Edo people, who believes in Edo, and who is ready to engage good hands, not just in the APC, both in Labour, both in PDP, to ensure that all Edos around the world who are professionals within the country are given the opportunity to contribute to the governance of Edo State. And that is what he said to do, to ensure that the commonwealth of Edo people are utilized properly, adequately, and selectively to achieve his vision for a new Edo. That is why we say a new Edo will rise with Senator Monday Okpewolo.
Dr. Blessing Agbomhere, APC South-South Organizational Secretary, thank you for joining us today.